Vandetam madavaranendravadanam madbhagatheyakritiim shundadanda suchalanena jagatam mayantarayamayan vidravya pranati prasanna hridayo yonuktayeva swayam rakshatyanvahamatmanoti virudam vaidyesha putrabhidham. So we will continue with this long katha, Ashadhabhuti-jambuka-duti-katha. So, do a punaravartana. Kaulikopi tachrutva bharyamaha priye tvam atithimadaya griham pratigaccha padashaucha bhojana sayanadibhis satkritya tvam tatraiva tishtha aham tava krite prabhutam madhyamane ashyami evam uktva prasthitah. So I hope we can recall that this Deva Sharma, the Parivrajaka, so he was invited to a nearby village for a function, and then he went there. He had his matra stolen by Ashadhabhuti, and then lamenting, he comes to a village where he encounters a Kaulika, a Tantuvaya, a weaver, and his wife proceeding towards the city for Madhyapana. And then he talks to them, requests them about providing a shelter for him for that. And Kaulika agrees, and he tells his Bharya that you please take him home. I will go to the city and fetch you a lot of wine. Tamadaya prahasitavadana devadattam manasi dhyayanti griham prati pratasthe athava sadhu chedamuchate. And she happened to be an asati, a pumshchali. So she had someone else on her mind who was Devadatta. So she thought of him and she left happily. Durdivase Ghanatimire Dusancharasu Nagaravitheshu Patyurvideshagamane Paramasukham Jaghanachapalaya. So a woman who has loose morals feels very happy on these days, on a Durdivasa, or when it is very dark, on a rainy day, when the Nagaravithis, when the streets of the city are not easily walkable, when it is not easy to roam around on the streets, and Patyuhu Videshagamane, and when the husband is not in town. Kelif pradahati majjam shringarosthini chatavah katavaha bandhakyah paritoshona kinchitishte bhavet Patyu. So bandhaki is again a pumshchali, an asati, so she does not feel very happy with the advances of her husband. However nice or how much ever filled with love they might be, it burns her marrow and it burns her bones. That is what this says. Kulapatanam janagarham bandhanamapi jeevitavya sandeham angikaroti kulata satatam parapurusha samsakta. Satatam parapurusha samsakta kulata. So a kulata who is audio is patchy. One of the participants says, can others confirm if it is so? Should I recheck my audio? Or it is fine. Okay. Thank you. Clear audio is fine. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Kulapatanam Janagarham. So all these things, a Kulata who is always Parapurusha Samsakta, always interested in another man than her husband. So she does not bother much about Kulapatana, about what will happen to her Kula. So the fall that her entire clan is going to face because of her character, she does not care about it. Janagarha means the kind of treatment she is going to receive from the parijanas, from those who surround her, from her relatives, people around. Doesn't care about that. Bandhanam, when her own bandhana, she does not care about her own threat to her own life. No, all these things she will bear. Angi karoti. Kulata angi karoti. Atha kaulika bharya griham gatva devasharmane gatastaranam bhagnan khatvam samarpyedamaha bho bhagavan yavadaham swasakhim gramadabhyagatam sambhavya drutamagachami tavatvaya madgrihe apramattena bhavyam. So she says she offers a broken cot and which does not have a proper bedding on it to this Deva Sharma and says, I will go meet my friend who has come from nearby village. Evam abhidhaya Shrungara vidhim vidhaya yavad Devadattam uddishya vrajati tavat tadbharta sammukho madavihvalango muktakeshah pade pade praskhalan grihita madhyabhantas samabhyeti tancha drishtva sa drutataram vyaghupya swagriham pravishya mukta Shrungara vesha yatha purvam abhavat. So when she dresses up very well and is about to leave, she encounters her bharta in front of her. Sammukha madavihvalangaha. So he is too much, he is drunk, muktakeshaha, all his hair is left loose, pade pade praskhalan. He is not able to, walk properly. So, and he says, Grihita Madhyabhantaha. He also has Madhyabhanda, Madhyapatra on his hand. And then immediately she retreats, she comes back and she, removes all her ornaments and she becomes like she was before. Yatha purvam abhavat. Kaulikopitam palayamanam kritadbhuta shringaram vilokya. Prageva karana paramparaya tasya apavada shravanat chubhita hridaya swakaram niguhamana aste. So this Kaulika also, he has already heard about her apavada, about her transgressions. He knows that he has heard, but so far, for the lack of evidence, he had been, he did not trust those apavadas, but then now he knows. So he stays put to catch her red-handed. Tatascha tathavidham cheshtitam avalokya drishtapratyaya krodhavashako griham pravishya tamaha pape pumshchali kvaprasthitasi sa provacha aham tvatsakashadagata nakutrashidapi nirgata katham madhyapanavashad aprastutam vadasi. So she turns the blame on him and says that you are blabbering something. You're completely fully drunk and you are talking all irrelevant things. I have never left this place since I came from, since I returned. Vaikalyam dharanipatam ayathochita jalpanam sannipatasya chinhani madhyam sarvani darshayat. Madhyapana shows all the sign of sannipata, which is vaikalya. Your limbs are not proper anymore. They don't behave. The limbs are not proper. Dharani pata, falling on the ground, that is laying unconscious, and ayathochita jalpanam. Dog, something that is irrelevant. Karaspandom baratyagas tejohani saragata varuni sangajavastha bhanunapyanabhuyate. So even Bhanu, Swayam Bhanu, the sun god experiences what Varuni Sangaja Avastha. So the Avastha that comes as a result of Varuni Sangha, association with the dik that is associated with Varuna, which is the west. What happens when the sun goes to west? Karaspanda. So Kara here refers to the rays of the sun that decrease, and Ambaratyaga, he is about to leave the sky and all his teja goes down. And Saragata, he becomes red in color. And the same thing happens to Varuni Sangaja Avastha here. Varuni Sangha also refers to Madhyapana Sangha. So Sangha with Madhya. When one is drunk, all these things happen. Karaspanda. So hands become shaky. Ambaratyagaha, one does not care about his or her own dresses anymore. Garment, Ambara here refers to a dress. Tejohani, all their teja goes down, and Saragata. So they become more passionate. Here Raga refers to passion. So when Bhanu experiences these things, why not humans? Sopita Shrutva Pratikulavachanam Vesha Vipariyayam Chavalokya Tamaha Pumschali Chirakalam Shrutomaya Tavapavadaha Tadadya Swayam Sanjata Pratyastava Yathochitam Nigraham Karomitya Vidhaya Laguna Praharis Tam Jarjarita Deham Vidhaya Spunaya Sahadridhabandanena Badhva Sobi Madavihvalo Nidravashamagamat. So today he could not take it anymore. So he says, now I know for sure. So aham adya sanjata pratyayaha. Now I know for sure. Now I have solid knowledge of your your character, and so I am going to yathochitam nigraham karomi. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to give you a deserving punishment. Laguda prahari starts beating her up and ties her to a pillar. And he is already too tired and intoxicated, so he sleeps. अत्रान्तरे तस्या सखी नापिति कौलिकं निद्रावशगतं विज्ञाय तां गत्वेदमाह सखी स देवदत्तस्तस्मिन् स्थाने त्वां प्रतीक्षते तज्जीघ्रमागम्यतामिति सा चाह पश्य ममावस्थां तत्कथं गच्छामि. So this Napiti, her Sakhi, comes and says that your love Devadatta is waiting there, and then she says, look at my condition, how can I go? Tad gatva bruhitam kaminam yadasyam ratrau tatvayasa samadha. Tonight I cannot meet you. Please go and tell him. Napiti praha Sakhi ma maivam vada. I am kulata dharma. This is not the dharma of a kulata. Vishamastha swadu phalagrahana vyavasaya nishchayo yasham ushtrānam ivatesham manyeham shamsitam sharma. Ushtrānamiva, like those of camels. So what of camels? So what is the attitude that they have? Vishamastha swadu phala grahana vyavasaya nishchayaha. So they have this nishchaya, they have this determination to somehow enjoy the fruits that are present in a vishamasthana, in an inaccessible location. Evameva yesham yetadrishaha nishchayaha yesham bhavati. So those who have such a hard determination, they are, they are praiseworthy. Their birth is worthwhile. So you should not bother about these small things. Go ahead. Sandigdhe paraloke janapavade jahadi bahuvichitre swadhine pararamane dhanyas tarunya phalabhaja. So those who enjoy the fruit of their youth, okay, dhanyaha, they are indeed blessed. Because sandigdhe paraloke, paraloka is sandigdha. It is not for sure, we do not know. Janapavade jahadi bahuvichitre, bahuchitre, and Janapavada is of all kinds. Okay, so going behind that, one cannot make a decision. So when a Pararamana is under your control, when you have a beloved, you just go and enjoy. Sabravit yadyevam tarhi kathe katham dridavandhana baddha sati tatra gacchami sannihitascha ayam papatma matpatihi. So this papatma, this this fellow is here. How can I go? Napitiyaha sakhi madavihvaloyam surya karas prishtaha prabodham yasyati tadaham tuam unmochayami maam atmasthane badhva drutadaram devadattam sambhavya agacha. So this fellow will wake up when he is touched by the rays of the sun. So I will untie you. Unmochayami. Maam atmasthane badhva. So tie me up in your place and quickly go and do whatever it is that you have to do with Devadatta and come back. Sabravit evam astu iti. Evam astu iti. Tadanu sa napiti tam swasakhim bandhanad vimochya tasya sthane yatha purvam atmanam badhva tam devadatta sakashe sanketa sthanam preshitavati. Sabravit evam astu. So now she has she has had her jnanodaya. So she has come to her senses and she knows her kulata dharma. Coming to understand that, she says, evam astu. Okay, fine. I will do whatever you say. Tadanu, following that, sa napiti, the barber's wife, tam svasakhim bandhanat vimochya. So untying her friend from the bandhana, tasyaha sthane, in her place, yatha purvam atmanam badhva. So she tied herself in that place, just the way the Kaulika had tied his wife. Devadatta sakashe sanketa sthanam preshitavati. So she sent her to the place that was decided. Tathanusthite kaulikaha kasminchit kshane samutthaye kinchit gatakopo visvimadastamaha he parushavadini yadadya prabhriti grihan nishkramanam nakaroshi nacha parusham vadasi tatastvam unmochayami napityapi swarabheda bhayad yavanna kinchiduche tavat sobi bhuyo bhuyastam tadeva aha. Kaulikaha, he wakes up kasminchit kshane samutthaye. So he wakes up in between. Kinchit gatakopaha. Now his anger has calmed down. A little bit less than what he was before. And vimadaha. Also his mada has come down a bit. Tam aha. Tells her, hey Parushavadi. Oh speaker of harsh words. Yadi adya prabhriti, from today onwards, grihan nishkramanam na karoshi. Grihat nishkramanam na karoshi. If you promise to not leave the house, nacha parusham vadasi, and not speak harshly with me, tataha tvam unmochayami. Then I shall untie you. Look at his pitiable character. He seems to be at her mercy, begging her begging her not to speak harshly to him. He's not able to take it. Napityapi swarabheda bhayat yavat na kinchiduche tavat sopi bhuyo bhuyastam tadeva. Napiti, fearing that he might recognize the swarabheda in her voice, fearing that he might recognize her not to be his wife, recognize her to be someone else. She does not speak something and he keeps repeating. Atha sa yavat pratyuttaram kimapi nadadau. Tavat sa prakupitas tikshana shastramadaya tasya nasikam achinat. Ahacha repumshchali tishtedani natvam bhuyastoshayishyami iti jalpanna punarapi nidravasham agamat. Devasharmapi vittanashat kshukshama-kanto nashtanidras sarvam stri-charitram apasyat. Atha sa yavat pratyuttaram na kimapi dadau tavat saha prakupitaha tikshana shastram adaya tasyaha nasikam achinat. Ahacha re pumshchali tishtha idani natvam bhuyaha toshayishyami iti jalpanna punaha api nidravasham agamat. Devasharma api vittanashat kshut-kshama-kantaha nashtanidraha tat sarvam stri-charitram apashyat. Then she does not reply. Yavat sa pratyuttaram kimapi nadadau tavat saha prakupitaha becomes more angry. Tikshana shastram adaya. So he takes a sharp knife, some kind of a knife-like sharp object, tasyaha nasikam achinat, and cuts off her nose. Nasikam achinat, and says, Repumshchali ishtedani. Now you stay put here. You just stay. You have no escape. Natvam bhuyaha toshayishyami. I will not try to please you again. Bhuyaha na toshayishyami. Jalpan, so lamenting like this, slept off again. Punarapi went to sleep. Nidravasham agamat. Devasharma api. And Devasharma, there is an atithi at home and all this is happening. Devasharma api vittanashati kshut-kshama-kantaha. He's already parched because of the loss of money. Nashtanidraha, and moreover he has lost his sleep. Nashtanidraha tat sarvam stri-charitram apashyat. And he sees all these ways of woman. Okay. So stri-charitram tat sarvam saha apashyat. Sapi kaulika bharya yathechaya devadattena saha surata sukham anubhuya kasmimshchit kshane swagriham agatya tam napitim idamaha ai shivam bhavatyaha nayam papatma mama gataya uddhitaha napityaha shivam nasikaya vina sheshasya sharirasya. Sa api kaulika bharya yatha ichchaya yathechchaya devadattena saha surata sukham anubhuya kasmimshchit kshane swagriham agatya tam napitim idam aha ai shivam bhavatyaha na ayam papatma mama gatayaha uddhitaha napityaha shivam nasikaya vina sheshasya sharirasya. Now this kaulika bharya, so what does she do? Yathechaya devadattena saha surata sukham anubhuya. So she enjoys sexual pleasure with yathechaya anubhuya tasmimshchit kshane swagriham agatya, and then returns at a particular time. She returns sometime to her own home, and now she inquires Napiti, Ai Shivam Bhavatya, oh dear, are you fine? Papatma mama gatayaha uddhitaha. I hope mama gatayaha na ayam uddhitaha, na ayam papatma. I hope he has not woken up after I left. Right? Ayam papatma. This fellow, I hope he did not wake up after I left. And what does she say? Napiti yaha Shivam. Yeah, I am fine. Nasikaya vina. Sheshasya sharirasya Shivam. Okay. So my Shesha Sharira, that is my body, without the Nasika is fine. Okay. So Nasika Nasikaya vina Sheshasya sharirasya Shivam. तद्रुतं मां मोचय बन्धनात् यावन् नायं मां पश्यति येन स्पृहं गच्छामि तदनुष्ठिते भूयोऽपि कौलिक उत्थाय तामाह पुंश्चलि किम् अद्यापि न वदसि किं भूयोऽप्यतो दुष्टतरं कर्णच्छेदादि निग्रहं करोमि अथ सा सकोपं साधिक्षेपम् इदम् आह तद्रुतं मां मोचय बन्धनात् यावत् न अयं मां पश्यति येन स्वगृहं गच्छामि तथा अनुष्ठिते भूयः अपि कौलिकः उत्थाय ताम् आह पुंश्चलि किम् अद्यापि न वदसि किं भूयः अपि अतः दुष्टतरं कर्णच्छेद आदि निग्रहं करोमि अथ सा सकोपं साधिक्षेपम् इदम् आह Snapiti says, Drutam mam mochaya, untie me quickly, bandhanat, from this. Yavat ayam mam napashyati yena swagraham gacchami. So before he sees me, let me leave to my own house. Yena swagraham gacchami. Tathanusthite. So when this happens, that is, this weaver's wife unties her, bhuyopi kaulikaha utthaya tamaha. Again, this Kaulika wakes up and tells, Pumshali, Kim Adhyapina Vadas, even now you are not talking, how dare you? Kim Bhuyopi Ataha Duštataram Karnachedadi Nigraham Karomi. So, should I inflict some, more worse wound upon you? Bhuyopi Ataha Duštataram. So, worse than this Karnachedadi Nigraha. So, punishments like, cutting off your ears. Should I do all that? Athasa prako sakopam sadhikshepam idam aha. So now she gets very angry. Okay? She says sakopam and sadhikshepa with a lot of sarcasm. She talks. Dhing dhing mahamudha koma mahasatim dharshayitum vyangayitum va samarthaha tachrunvantu sarvepi lokapalaha. So I'm sorry. Dhing dhing, dhik dhik, mahamudha. Kaha mam, mahasatim, dharshayitum, vyangayitum va samarthaha. Tat shrunvantu sarvepi lokapalaha. Dhik dhik, shame on you, mahamudha, fool. Okay, shouts at him. This much of and with this much of authority, she shouts at him. And she has so much confidence. She says, Homam mahasatim dharshayitum vyangayitum va samartha. Ahama mahasati. Okay. I am an extremely chaste woman. I am like Ahalya, Sita, Mahasati. So, who can threaten me? Dharshayitum vyangayitum. Or who can mutilate me? You think you can do that? Shrinvantu sarvepi lokapalaha. So may all the lokapalas hear me. Aditya chandra vanilonalascha dyaur bhumirapo hridayam yamascha ahascha ratrischa ubhecha sandhye dharmascha janati narasya vrittam. Aditya chandra vanilonalascha dyaur bhumirapo hridayam yamascha ahascha ratrischa ubhe cha sandhye dharmascha janati narasya vrittam. Aditya chandra anilaha analaha cha vyauhu bhumihi apaha hridayam yamaha cha ahaha cha ratrihi cha ubhe cha sandhye dharmaha cha janati narasya vrittam. So she starts saying narasya vrittam. So human affairs, okay? The affairs of human beings. Who all know? Janati, no. Who knows? Aditya Chandra, the sun and the moon know. Hridayam, Hridayam is one's own antahkarana. One's own antahkarana knows, right? That is the final pramana. So that knows. Chandra is the pramana. Aditya is the pramana. Anila knows. Vayu Devata knows. Analaha, Agni knows. Vyauhu. Vyauhu knows. Bhumihi, the earth knows. The waters know. Apaha. Ahaha cha ratrihi cha. The day knows, the night knows, and Ubhe Sandhye, the two Sandhya Devatas. Okay. So they know. And then Dharma. So Dharma Raja, he knows. So all these people know of Narasya Vrittam. They know the human affairs. So why is she saying all that? So she is invoking all these deities and is going to tell this. What is it? Tad yadi mama satittvamasti manasapi parapurusho nabhilashitas-tato deva bhuyopi me nasikam tadrik roopam akshatam kuruvantu. अथवा यदि मम चित्ते परपुरुषस्य भ्रान्तिरपि भवति ततो मां भस्मसान् नयन्तु एवमुक्त्वा भूयोऽपि तमाह भो दुरात्मन् पश्य मे सतीत्वप्रभावेण तादृश्येव नासिका संवृत्ता तत् यदि मम सतीत्वम् अस्ति मनसा अपि परपुरुषः न अभिलषितः ततः देवाः भूयः अपि मे नासिकां तादृक् रूपाम् अक्षतां कुर्वन्तु अथवा यदि मम चित्ते परपुरुषस्य भ्रान्तिः अपि भवति ततः मां भस्मसात् नयन्तु एवम् उक्त्वा भूयः अपि तम् आह भो दुरात्मन् पश्य मे सतीत्व प्रभावेण तादृशी एव नासिका संवृत्ता यदि मम सतीत्वम् अस्ति. So if I am a chaste woman, mama satitvam asti chet, if there is chastity in me, manasa api parapurushaha nabhilashitaha, even if even if I have not thought of any parapurusha even by my heart, manasa api na abhilashitaha, if I have not craved for one even with my heart, devaha bhuyaha api me nasikam tadrik roopam akshatam kuruvantu. So may the gods heal my nose, nasikam akshatam kuruvantu, may they make it uncut. Okay, kshata means something that is cut or wounded, may they make it unwounded, that is as it was before. Tadrik roopam yatha purvam akshatam kuruvantu, may they heal my nose. अथवा यदि मम चित्ते parapurushasya bhrantirapi bhavati tato mam bhasmasan. So even if there is a bhranti of a parapurusha there in my mind, okay, if I have even a bhranti, I have maybe out of bhranti I have not consciously thought of him, but due to some bhranti I have thought of another person, let us say, even if that is the case, may I be burnt down. Bhasmasan. May they burn me down. Eva muktva bhuyopi tam aha. And then now she speaks to him again. Bho duratmanne pashya me satitva prabha. Pashya. So look at me. Mama me satitva prabhavena. Because of the power of my satitva, tadrishi eva mama nasika samvrita. My nose has become like that it was before. Tadrishi nasika samvrita. Athasa vulkumadaya yavat pashyati tavat tadrupam nasikancha bhutale rakta pravahancha mahantam apashyat. Athasa vismitamanas tam bandhanad vimuchya shayyaya maharopya cha chatushataihi pariyatoshayat. Deva sharmapi tam sarvavrittantam alokya vismitamana idamaha. Atha sa ulmukam adaya atha asau ulmukam adaya yavat pashyati tavat tadrupam nasikam cha bhutale rakta pravahancha mahantam apashyat. Atha saha vismitamanaha tam bandhanat vimuchya shayyayam aropya cha chatushataihi paryatoshayat. Devasharmapi tam sarvavrittantam alokya vismitamanaha idam aha. Now asau kaha, asau tantuvayah, kaulikaha, that weaver. Ulmukam adaya, ulmuka is a torch. Okay. So of whatever kind of torch was available that day, fire, angara. So ulmukam adaya yavat pashit. So he sees. Okay. So and then तावत् तद्रूपां नासिकां च भूतले रक्तप्रवाहं च महान्तम् अपश्यत्. And he sees the same nasika as it was before and sees a lot of blood on the ground. Bhutale raktapravaham cha mahantam raktapravaham, huge flow of blood he sees there. Athasaha vismitamanaha, no, he is really surprised. Tam bandhanat vimuchya, so he unties her. Shayyayam aropya, and makes her sit on the bed. Chatushataihi paryatoshayat, and talks very sweetly to her and tries to please her through his sweet words. Chatushataihi paryatoshayat, he pleases her, appeases her. Devasharma apitam sarva vrittantam alokya vismitamanaha idam aha. Now this Devasharma, having seen all this, he is quite surprised, okay, and starts saying, Shambarasya cha yamaya Yamaya namucherapi bale kumbhinaseschaiva sarubhasta yoshito viduhu. Shambarasya cha yamaya namucherapi bale kumbhinaseschaiva sarubhasta yoshito viduhu. So yamaya shambarasya या माया च नमुचेः अपि शंबरस्य च या माया नमुचेः बलेः कुंभीनसेः च एव सर्वाः ताः योषिताः विदुः. So this woman seems to be adept in all kinds of mayas. So usually Rakshasas are well versed in different kinds of mayas, right? So all these famous Rakshasas names are taken. Shambarasura. Okay. So Shambara is I guess the one who kidnaps Pradyumna in Srimad Bhagavata. Krishna's son Pradyumna, as soon as he is born, he is kidnapped by Shambara, I think. So Yamaya Shambarasya, so the Maya of Shambarasura, and Yamaya cha Namuchehe. So Namuchi is another famous demon who is killed by Indra in the Puranas. So this Maya of Namuchi and Maya of Bali Chakravarti. Okay. So Mahabali, Balehe, Kumbhinasehe. So Kumbhinasi is an Asura. I think he was related to Ravana in some way. I forgot the story associated with Kumbhinasi. I think he was some way he was related to Ravana and somehow related to Lavanasura as well. If if any of the participants know of this Kumbhinasi, you can maybe share at the end of the class. So Kumbhinasehe cha taha sarvaha yoshitaha viduhu. All those mayas, these women seem to be very adept, good at. Hasantam prahasantyeta rudantam prarudantyapi apriyam priyavakyaischa grinhanti kalayogataha. Hasantam prahasantyeta rudantam prarudantyapi apriyam priyavakyaischa grinhanti kalayogataha. Hasantam prahasanti yetaha rudantam prarudanti api apriyam priyavakyaihi cha grinhanti kalayogataha. So yetaha kaha yoshitaha. So these women, what do they do? Kalayogataha. So according to the circumstances, so whatever be the need, according to the kala, hasantam prahasanti. So they make a person, so the one who is laughing, they make him laugh more. Hasantam prahasanti. Rudantam. So the one who is crying, they make him cry more. Prarudanti. Apriyancha priyavakyaihi grinhanti. So, sorry, just a moment. Apriya. Apriya is a person who is not a favorable person so far. So such a person, apriyam, priyavakyaihi grinhanti. So through sweet words, they capture him. So they have various ways of trapping a person. Is the idea. So hasantam prahasanti. So by making a person who is smiling smile more, they trap him. Similarly, a person who is already sad, okay, probably they extract, they make him cry more and then trap him. Okay, by making him to express his deepest sorrows, they trap him. Similarly, somebody who is not favorable, who is apriya so far, priyavakyaihi grinhanti. Through sweet words, they can trap him. So they have variety of ways to trap people. Vishana veda yachastram yacha veda brihaspatihi stri buddhya na visheshyeta tasmad rakshyah katham hitah. Ushana veda yachastram yacha veda brihaspatihi stri buddhya na vishi. I think I'm sorry, it should be vishishyeta. I will make the correction. Stri buddhya na vishishyeta tasmadrakshya katham hitah. Ushana veda, ushanaha veda yat shastram yat cha veda brihaspatihi stri buddhya na vishishyeta tasmat rakshyaha katham hitah. So yat shastram ushanaha veda. So Ushanas refers to Shukracharya. Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. So I think even in the Vibhuti Yoga, the Lord says that among the Kavis I am Ushana. So Ushanas refers to Shukracharya. Yati Shastram Ushanaha Veda. So that Shastra, so which Shukracharya is an expert in, that which Shukracharya knows. So he is aware of all the different strategies. So he is an acharya for the asuras, like the Brihaspati is for the devas. So he is a strategic expert, right? So all the shastras that Ushana knows, or all the shastra that Brihaspati himself knows, yaticha Brihaspati veda tat sarvam api stri buddhya na vishishyeta. See, so all that is not more than or more special than that which can be known through Stri Buddhi. So Stri Buddhi is something that is aware of much more than what Ushanas or Brihaspati might know. So what they know is not something that is better than what a Buddhi can accomplish, what is known to the mind of a Nari. Tasmat taha katham hi rakshayaha. So how is it that they be controlled? How can they be controlled? Here rakshana means to control. How can they be controlled? How can they be kept under check? We do not know. For they seem to be so accomplished in so many things. Anritam satyamityahus satyam chapi tatha anritam itiyastah katham dhirai samrakshya purushairiha. Oh yes, Kumbhinasi is the mother of Lavanasura and she is also the stepmother of Ravana. Thank you, Mahodaya. Yes, she's the mother. I am sorry. Kumbhinasi. I do remember reading about her sometime, but I forgot. So This is Deva Sharma talking to the barber's wife. No, 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 no. He is not talking to the barber's wife. He is talking to himself. Okay. Obviously, he cannot go and start abusing the barber's wife through all these verses. So he is just thinking to himself about, how crafty women are. That's all. So basically, the author is talking to us, and Deva Sharma is talking to himself. Anritam satyamityahus satyam chapi tatha anritam itiyastah katham dhirai samrakshya purushairiha. Anritam satyam iti ahu. Satyam cha api tatha anritam. Iti yaha taha katham dhiraihi samraksyaha purushaihi iha. Yaha anritam satyam iti ahu. So, those women, those who speak of untruth as truth, those who lie, basically. Anritam satyam iti ahu. Those who speak of a lie as a truth, those who lie. Tatha cha anritam api satyam iti. And those who, satyam api anritam iti. And those who hide the truth as a lie, okay, who do not convey truth as it is, and who make sound of satyam as anrita and anrita as satya. Taha katham dhirehi purushehi iha samraksyaha. So how can they be controlled by wise men in this loka? Katham dhirehi purushehi. Here dhira purusha refers to a wise man. How indeed can he think of managing these people? What can be done with these women, okay, who are kulatas? So we have to understand that all this is with reference to a kulata and not with a kulastri. So there is a kulata and a kulastri, and we have to understand that the man who is talking here is also an ideal householder, and it is from his perspective that he is abusing kulatas like this through all these verses. So that is very important, because see, in the Panchatantra, we encounter descriptions of kulata, okay, of kulata as a woman who cannot be trusted and who is very dangerous and who has very loose morals. So repeatedly, the issue of trust keeps coming again and again, because the person or the ideal man that Panchatantra seeks to represent is an ideal householder whose aim is to do good for his own family and bring long-term benefits to his kula and make money, of course. And in fact, we have seen in the earlier portion that making money itself is to making money and earning a good position for himself in the society itself is to bring a good name for his kula and benefit his parijana, parivarajana, his bandhujana, etc. So the ideal man who is being spoken about here is an ideal family man, right? So when you talk about a grihastha, an ideal family man, he is already bound, right? He is bound in so many ways, right? The society binds him in so many ways, and there are so many checkpoints for him at various places. He is not a free person. He is not a wild person, right? He is somebody who is following his dharma. And for such a person, an anuvidhayini is a who follows him in his domestic life, right? So a person, so we have to understand that this text, right, it speaks of, it makes, it abuses and makes fun of a sannyasi or a person who is not interested in the life of an ideal householder, as much as it abuses or makes fun of kulata, because both of them are detrimental to family life and family stability. That is the fundamental idea. So much of abuse is hurled at a kulata because she causes instability in a family, and the text proposes an ideal society where the building block is a nice family which is held together by an ideal householder who is interested in benefiting his family and is interested in his own benefit by making money. Okay. So we saw the classic case of Vardhamana in the introduction itself, right? So he is the ideal man that Panchatantra is trying to project, and his ideal partner obviously cannot be a kulata, right? Who has a wild behavior and whose behavior will have a direct impact on family stability. So we have to keep that in mind when understanding the portions where so much of abuse is hurled at women in general. But what we have to understand, it is not about women at all. Okay, it is not speaking of women as a class, but it is speaking of kulatas who are untrustworthy and who cannot be trusted by a person, by a man who is interested in living an ideal domestic life. Some questions. Some part here. We see a lot of violence to control his wife too. Yes. See, but we also have to see that that poor fellow had been trusting her despite hearing a lot of apavada, right? So he did not take an action based on the Karna Parampara apavada that he had been hearing about his own wife, right? So the poor fellow had been waiting for a long time. And and also it is my personal opinion that we don't have to equate the violence that in the kind of violence that we are exposed to in today's world, and whatever kind of violence it might be that is projected in the text, I don't think it can be equated. Okay, of course it is. I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying that it is a very different world where women and men led very different lives. So that is also because we have to so I think the description is mainly we have to understand the symbolism here, where it is mainly to emphasize how much of an instability a kulata can cause in a family, how much of disruption it would be, right? So that is what is to be taken, and that is what the text is trying to convey, I think, because in many other places, if we see we are going to see, I hope we encounter such stories in Mitrabheda, but I'm sure there are, I have read in other portions of the text where a Kulastri is equally glorified. Okay? She is glorified not because she chooses to follow her husband or anything. It is because this man and woman together form the basic block of a family, and both of them together try to accomplish this goal of having a peaceful, stable domestic life. So I think it has to be understood in that light. We'll continue with this verse. Iti yaha taha katham dhirehi samrakshyaha. So how can they be controlled or kept under check? Because they cannot be trusted. Okay. Controlled and kept under check, not to make her a slave. We have to understand, because see, once this satitva of this lady, this wife of the Kaulika is, she proves through some, she has her own ways, and by hook or crook, she has proved that she is a chaste woman. We see how the Kaulika is ready, and immediately, he wants to pacify her, because he is more or less at her mercy. He somehow wants her to be happy and wants her to be loyal to him. Okay. So here, katham dhirehi purushaihi samrakshyaha, how can they be trusted? So it seems like the men are at the mercy of the woman for the sake of guaranteeing stability in the family. So here, this lamenting is a result of that. Okay. What to do? How can I keep them under check? Okay. That is the idea. Continuing. Anyatrapyuktam. Nati prasangah pramadasu karyo neched balam strishu vivardhamanam ati prasaktaif purushairiyatastah kridanti kakairivaluna pakshaih. Nati prasangah pramadasu karyo neched balam strishu vivardhamanam ati prasaktaif purushairiyatastah kridanti kakairivaluna pakshaih. Na ati prasangaha pramadasu karyaha na iched balam strishu vivardhamanam ati prasaktaihi purushaihi yataha taha kridanti kakaihi iva lunapakshaihi. Pramadasu ati prasangaha na karyaha. So pramada, a woman. So pramadasu, with woman, in woman, overindulgence is not to be entertained in case of woman. Never overindulge with them. Ati prasangaha na karyaha. Strishu vivardhamanam balam na iched. Also, one should not wish their power to grow. Strishu vivardhamanam balam na iched. So the final say in a household should be with the husband only, and it should not be with the woman. It openly says. Strishu vivardhamanam balam na iched. Yataha vai ati prasaktaihi purushaihi taha lunapakshaihi kakaihi iva kridanti. Because ati prasaktaihi purushaihi taha kridanti. They play with overindulgent men. Taha ati prasaktaihi purushaihi kridanti. They play with them. How? Lunapakshaihi kakaihi iva. So, like crows whose wings are cut. Lunapakshehi kakaihi. Luna means chinna. So clipped or cut. It comes from lung chedane dhatu. Then you add an ikta pratyaya. So it becomes past participle form. Like pita, gata, evameva, luna, chinna. Luna means cut. So they play with those men like those birds that are cut off their wings. Here in case of crows. Lunapakshehi kakaihi iva taha atiprasaktaihi purushaihi kridanti. Tasmat pramadasu atiprasangaha na karyaha strishu vivardhamanam balam na kopi icche. Then Sumukhena vadanti valguna praharantyeva shitena teja chetasa madhutisthati vachiyoshitam hridaye halahalam mahadvisham. Sumukhena vadanti valguna praharantyeva shitena chetasa madhutisthati vachiyoshitam hridaye halahalam mahadvisham. Sumukhena vadanti valguna praharanti yeva shitena chetasa madhu tisthati vachi yoshitam hridaye halahalam mahat visham. Sumukhena valguna vadanti. So valguna sumukhena vadanti. So they speak with a very valguna sumukhena vadanti. So valgu means beautiful. Okay. Sundara ityartha. Sundarena sumukhena vadanti. So they speak with having a very nice face. Okay. Or here in fact you can take mukha as tongue. Okay. Or mouth. Okay. So they speak with nice words. Okay. And shitena chetasa eva praharanti. But with their sharp heart, very tikshana heart, they nicely strike. Shitena chetasa praharanti. So they speak nicely with their sweet tongue and strike hard with their sharp heart. Shitena chetasa praharanti. Yoshitam vachi madhutisthati hridaye halahalam mahadvisham tisthati. So we can say that in their tongues there is madhu, there is honey. Yoshitam vachi, vachi, strinam vachi, mukhe madhu tishtati. Honey stays, honey is there in their tongue, while their heart is full of halahalam mahat visham, a ghora visham, very deadly poison stays there in their heart. Some questions? Both the weaver and his wife are also into drinking, so the ills of drinking also brought out here. I am not sure if the text is trying to convey the ills of drinking here. So there is a verse which talks about what happens when one consumes madhya, but otherwise it looks like a more of a casual description. That is all. Okay. It seems to be quite a casual affair that both the husband and the wife go to the pub and they enjoy and they come back. That looks like something that is normal in their kula. Okay, that is how I can infer. I don't think the text is trying to convey about the ill effects of alcohol or anything here. Astu, maybe we can see one more verse and then we can close. अतएव निपीयते धरो हृदयं मुष्टिभिरेव ताड्यते पुरुषैः सुखलेशवञ्चितैर्मधुलुब्धैः कमलं यत्भिः अतएव निपीयते धरो हृदयं मुष्टिभिरेव ताड्यते पुरुषैः सुखलेशवञ्चितैर्मधुलुब्धैः कमलं यथालिभिः. Ataha eva. So we have to make the connection with the previous verse. Ataha eva nipiyate adharaha hridayam mushtibhihi eva tadyate purushaihi sukhalesha vanchitaihi madhulubdhaihi kamalam yathalibhihi. Ataha eva nipiyate adharaha. So that is why. So why, that is why means why madhu tishtati vachi yoshitam hridaye hala halam tishtati. So because there is honey in their mukha, their mouth or tongue, and there is heart, there is poison in their hearts. Purushaihi adharam nipiyate. That is why men drink their adhara. Adhara is the lower lip. Okay, so that is drunk. Okay, it is kissed here. Hridayam adharam adharaha nipiyate. Hridayam mushtibhihi tadyate. Closed fist is a mushti. Okay, and their hridaya, their heart is beaten with mushti. Okay, that is why, maybe that is why the the lip is drunk. Here nipiyate means to drunk. So kissed, and the heart is beaten with the fist. By whom? Sukhalesha vanchitei purushai. So men who are duped, okay, they are vanchita, okay, because of small pleasure, okay, like enjoying a kiss. Okay. Because of that small pleasure, they are duped. Sukhalesha vanchitaihi purushaihi katham yatha madhulibdhaihi alibihi kamalam nipiyate tadyate cha. The way, so madhulubdaihi alibihi, ali is a bee. Okay, so and that is madhulubdha. It is greedy for the honey that is present in a kamala pushpa. So what does the bee do? It drinks the nectar that is there, and it also finishes off and kills the kamala pushpa at the end, or probably, or it goes to the center portion and it beats around the center portion, just the way the hridaya of the nari is beaten and the lip is drunk. Same way the honey from the kamala pushpa is drunk by the bee, and it also goes and swarms around the center portion. So that is equivalent to tadana. So I think we can close here for today, and I will take questions in tomorrow's class. And yeah, hala hala is the poison swallowed by Shiva. Yes. All this criticism suggests Vishnu Sharma had a really bad experience with the ladies. Uh, I'm sorry, but we cannot say that just about Vishnu Sharma, because most of the texts are going to, we can find similar verses in many texts, not just Panchatantra. So for a modern mind, it is very, very difficult to swallow these verses, I would say. But then ancient world was a patriarchal world, and it was not oppressive just because it was patriarchal. If it was not oppressive, if we can, take that world view, and if we can try to understand how in a patriarchal world still it need not have been an oppressive world, okay, just because it was patriarchal. We can take that view and try to look at our text from that angle. Only then we can try to understand it. Otherwise, most of the texts are going to have these kind of verses. Yeah, so it is not something that is unique to Panchatantra. So we can discuss further tomorrow. We close here. We will take questions in tomorrow's class. Stu samapayamaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.